What's up, 7-footers? What is going on? We know what's going on.
Yeah, we're back, man.
Major drama, major buzz in the
All
NBA.
types of craziness happening in the NBA.
Right? Jenna and Jarod here.
Jarod Hector.
And we are the 7-footers podcast. As you know, season 2 in full throttle right now. And although it's early in the season, there are some crazy things happening within the NBA. And as you could have predicted, we are going to start this week with the Golden State Warriors.
Woo!
Because once upon a time, it was all nice in the Bay until KD didn't get the ball at the end of regulation.
You know, there's a reason why we say this is the best league.
Yes.
And the best sport to cover, because there's always something exciting happening.
Always, whether it's a tweet, a move,
just
whatever.
something. And it's so interesting because we're obviously going to start with the Bay and what's going on with the
Yes.
Warriors. But remember when they were here in New York a couple weeks ago? I wrote that nice piece about the joy that Steph Curry and Kevin Durant have playing with each other,
Right.
and how life is great, and they're embracing everything. They're making the Fergie videos.
Are you responsible for the
No!
the jinx?
I might have jinxed them. No, look. And we're obviously talking about the KD Draymond dust up.
Yes.
Which, why don't you
Let's,
give the people to a little quick
We'll give the
recap.
people a little background that they deserve. So in case you missed basically the blockbuster game of the season
And
the
where
other
have you
night,
been?
exactly, the Golden State Warriors took on the Clippers. Not to be biased, but we all went into this game saying, all right, it's going to be a blowout. The Warriors are going to take the W. Well, that did not happen. At the end of regulation, well, towards the end of regulation, it was craziness. So think about this. You have the offensive rebound by Draymond Green, and you're going to obviously think to dish it to one of your PGs or your somebody else that's not Draymond.
Or your 7-foot sniper.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe him. So KD is calling for the ball like this. Open. He's open. And Draymond does not give him the ball, proceeds to dribble down the court, obviously fumbles it, and does not get a hold of it. There's a couple seconds left. They blow it, can't get a shot off. End of regulation, goes into OT, and dare I say, the Clippers won.
Yeah.
And then that's when chaos ensued because there was a little bit of an exchange on the court, taken to the bench. KD and Draymond are going at it, and a lot of videos online see KD walking back onto the court saying, "This is why I'm out." Well, we all know he's a free agent in 2019, so is this why you're out?
You know,
What is happening here?
well, it's something that I've talked to you about, and it's something that I'm a firm believer in, and it's this idea of dynasties and championship teams are a fragile thing, right?
Yes.
On the outside, it looks like everything's great, but it's fragile because winning is not the cure-all that it seems to be. Because ultimately, when you win and you win the NBA title, there's nowhere else for you to go but down, right? Because there's no other higher level to attain. Okay, we can win another one.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is the joy you experience does not match up to whatever it is, the expectations you have. And so really it's about just preserving, and you don't want to lose because especially if this team loses, it's, oh, the great Warriors.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of pressure.
a lot
This
of
go
pressure.
round.
Number two, this is a team. So before Durant got there, they went to the finals, lost to the Cavs, and then they went to the finals the last 2 years. If they make it to the finals this year, this will be their 4th consecutive trip to the NBA finals. There is a reason why only one other team in NBA history has gone to 4 straight finals. It's hard, number one. Number two, you are playing 100+ games this season, late into June. On Olympic years, you're playing into the summertime. You're with these same guys all the time.
Yeah.
And guess what? As I say to everybody all the time, it's entertainment for us, but this is work for them.
Yeah.
You're with your coworkers all the time, and sometimes they get annoying. And you get on each other's nerves. And with Draymond's the kind of player who, when you make a mistake, he's very boisterous and demonstrative about calling you out. Okay, that's just Draymond's personality. But when he messes up and you call him out, he doesn't like it.
It's
and
not good.
And that's what happened in this instance. And instead of him taking it, he decided to go and attack KD personally.
Exactly.
Right? Talking about you only have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You're not down with us. Calling him the B word.
Things got trippy
And
things got below
also
the belt.
cutting into some other things, some very personal things that obviously KD confided in Draymond that only Draymond would know, right? Draymond's a very smart trash talker, and you, as any human being knows, the people who are closest to you hurt you the most because they know the secrets about you.
They dangle it in front of your face. And they know.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what he did. And he went below the belt.
Yeah.
And again, let me clarify that neither of us were there, but obviously from the reports and the endless amount of things that have come out from this, nothing was good. And he addressed the media today on
Draymond did.
November 15th. We're filming this. He addressed the media and basically took responsibility for his actions, said he has to live with it, and nothing's going to break the Warriors, and he spoke to KD, and this is the only time he's going to address it. So that tells me, when you're addressing the media and you're saying, sometimes I get hot-headed, and I do this, and I do that, and I take responsibility, you did something wrong.
Yeah, he definitely did, for sure.
You did something wrong.
But notice, he really didn't actually offer up an apology, per se.
No.
All he said was that this is how I am, and I live with it.
Yeah.
And the Warriors have to live with it. But again, with all these reports that are coming out, a lot of these veteran guys on the team are also growing a little bit tired of this from Draymond as well. You know, again, certain guys can wear and grate on you, right? And it becomes a question of diminishing returns. Yes, Draymond's vital to this team and you win with him. But how much of this does his team want to keep dealing with?
Exactly.
Look, management clearly sided with Kevin Durant because Draymond was suspended and fined a game check, right? So
when your management and your team is going against your player that has been there for years and years and years, as opposed to KD who joined after, and they're suspending you a game with no pay, that tells me you did something real bad. You opened your mouth and you said terrible things.
You did something bad, and also management is also letting the whole team know, one, we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. Two, there's a pecking order here, and there are certain people who are more important than others when it comes to re-signing and what have you. Draymond will be a free agent in 2020. The Warriors' number one concern in 2019, this upcoming summer, is re-signing Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
Yes, Klay Thompson is also a free agent, but none of Klay Thompson's deal won't get done, and Draymond's extension or whatever before then won't get done until they know for sure where they're at with Kevin Durant. And guess what? That matters because in the pecking order, he's the more important player, right? Like, yes, Draymond, you were there first, you helped build the culture, but Kevin Durant's, what, either the best or second best player in the world? Like, I mean...
Exactly.
Management's going to side with him.
We've seen it time and time again, and I'm not saying there's no loyalty in this league, but there's no loyalty to an extent. So with management siding with KD, that shows us that that's their move. Like, hey, we know what's coming up.
Absolutely.
We know what moves we're making. So Draymond, we're going to crack the whip, and you better lock it down.
Now, the other thing, too, is that I want to be fair to Draymond as well, right?
Yeah.
So the other side of this is, look, we know Kevin Durant can be overly sensitive at times and seems to have thin skin when it comes to certain things. And a lot of people use that as a character flaw against him because a lot of people see it as, well, how can you be supremely talented at something and get so bothered by little things, right? We talk about online how he has burner accounts and he goes back and forth with fans when they're... And sure, but that's who he is as a person, right?
It's the talent, and we just had this conversation before this. The talent is not in the same lane as the personality.
Exactly right.
Your personality isn't why you're in the league. I would be in the league. All right? I'm not trying to gas myself up, but you know. But it's not about that.
Right. His skill set and his ability and talent is what has him in the league and has him as the best player or one of the best players in the league, right? And again, he gets sensitive at times.
And that's why he won a chip when he left OKC. If your personality mattered, then he wouldn't have won a chip.
And he gets emotional, and so he had to know also that Draymond is someone who's going to fly off the handle, right? So there's blame to go on both sides in that manner. And also, too, yes, the way that Kevin is handling his free agency, though it is his right, does hold the team hostage.
Yes.
And it makes certain players feel some type of way. But again, he has the leverage and ability to do that because of who he is, right? Regular or ordinary all-stars or average guys in the league cannot do that because they don't have the clout to. He can because he is the type of seismic talent like a LeBron James that if he decides to go to another franchise, they initially become a contender and move into an upper echelon.
And they build around you then.
That's just who he is. So on the one hand, I can see how it's annoying to you because you're like, man, but I've been here first. I get that.
I get that. But
I get it, but that's just, and guess what?
It's a make or miss league.
and also, Draymond, you recruited KD here. So,
yeah.
I mean, you knew what you were getting. This is what it is.
Exactly.
So, again, I don't think ultimately, as we look at long term for the Warriors, this will stop them from winning a title. If they don't win a title this season, it won't be because of this Draymond KD dust up. Okay?
No.
But as I said at the beginning of this year on our first podcast when we're going over the season previews, I'm a firm believer that Durant will leave Golden State at the end of this year when his free agency is up.
You have said that since day one, I'll give you that. And I completely agree. I think he will leave after this. Whether or not there's beef or not, do I think as a human being he's going to remember those things that were said to him?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that they lost that game to the Clippers because of that beef? Yes.
That game they did lose because that carried over into overtime.
Yeah.
Kevin fouled out, and him and
Yeah.
Draymond weren't on the same page.
I don't think that, like you said, I don't think it'll affect them in the long term. Do I think that their chemistry will be off for a little bit? I do.
Yeah, I mean,
really
today during
do.
shoot-around, Anthony Slater for The Athletic, shout out to
Yeah.
him. He's the Warriors beat reporter, and he was like, the scene at shoot-around today was awkward. Draymond and KD walked from the bus together.
they were forced to leave.
and Draymond was kind of forcing the issue.
Yeah.
And KD, you could still see it, was sullen and down. And yes, he takes things personally. As a great character on Boardwalk Empire, Jip Rossetti once said, but we're all people, right? So how am I supposed to take this? And there's some truth to that,
is
right?
very true.
Right?
Like we say, athletes are human beings.
They're human beings, right? And
you say something messed up, they're gonna feel it.
And especially because it's Draymond, who, what people seem to forget is these two are close, right? So for Draymond to say what he said, that cut Kevin deeply, right? So he's gonna feel about that a certain type of way for a while. And he even said it in his comments, not today, but after the game on Tuesday night. He said, I'm sure we'll talk and we'll get through this at some point. It's a long season, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is sign up. It ain't happening tonight or tomorrow or anytime soon, but at some point I'll get over it. We'll deal with it and we'll be fine. I think ultimately on the court it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. It's notable that Steph Curry is traveling with the team,
although he's out for 5 games.
Because and I often say this and I'll say it again. Not only is Steph Curry the most important player on the team from how they function on the court, he's the most important player how they function as a unit off the court as well.
Absolutely.
Because of the kind of superstar that he is,
and
right?
he's the ideal team captain.
He's a very selfless guy. He is able to see things from both standpoints. He's able to be rational and level-headed.
Him and KD are very close.
They're tight. Him and Draymond are tight. So he's able to sit here and be like, look, man, here's where you were wrong. Here's where you were wrong.
Yeah.
But forget all that nonsense. We're trying to go down to history. Let's remember that. This team is trying to become only one of 3 franchises to three-peat.
And I think that that's why a lot of the reports were saying a lot of the guys in the locker room were upset with KD, or I'm sorry, with Draymond, because look at the big picture.
Yeah.
Like, it almost makes me want to shake him and be like, we are going for a three-peat.
Right.
This is not the time.
This is basketball immortality right here.
To do this. And this is where, and I would never say this because you're the ideal KD fan, but a little string in my heart was pulled a little bit because I think about it in a way like KD feels like he found his home in the Bay,
right.
and then this happens,
right.
Somebody says such horrible things to you that cut so deep, and it's
right.
like, damn, am I in the right place?
Well,
I think that made him think a little bit.
Oh, no doubt. And look, I'm not going to sit here and play armchair psychologist from 30,000 miles away or 3,000 miles away, whatever. But it's clear if you follow this league and you follow Kevin Durant enough, and I've spoken to him a few times. I don't know him, and I've only talked to him in scrums, so never one-on-one. But I've read enough interviews with him, seen enough interviews to understand a decent amount about him, as much as you can from afar.
Yeah.
He's clearly someone who is searching for something. What that thing is, I have no idea. I don't think he even knows what it is.
Not yet.
And I think the challenge and the dilemma that he's having is that basketball, because he's so supremely good at this thing, is where he thinks he's going to find it. And honestly, it may not be here. And I don't mean with the Warriors, I mean in basketball, period. He may not find whatever it is he's looking for until he's done playing and retired, and then some light bulb goes off and he has some moment of clarity or some time to really reflect and do whatever it is he needs to do to figure out who he is. What I think he's trying to do is he's trying to become comfortable in his own skin.
And we said that last season. He seemed a little bit lost. He was trying to find himself, and he's so
very
uber talented. But
it's very hard to look. I mean, I'm someone who it took a long time to get comfortable in my own skin, right? And I'm considerably older than him. It takes time to figure that out and to be comfortable with oneself. And that's where I think he's battling. And it's tough to battle that and also be as supremely gifted as he is, because what happens is the outside narrative is, to us, this doesn't make sense. How are you so good at this thing, but you seem so petty about these other things? The two have nothing to do with each other.
And that's what people don't understand.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately, I think the Warriors will be fine.
I do too.
You know, they play the Rockets tonight. Again, it's Wednesday or is it Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
It's Thursday,
yes,
November 15th. They play the Rockets tonight at 8 on TNT. Watch that game.
Today, the news also just broke, speaking of the Rockets, that they have officially parted ways with Carmelo Anthony. They said it just wasn't a fit, and if they kept him any longer, it would have been unfair to him. So now he's searching for his next home.
Which, to be honest, and this is not, we're not going to dwell too
long
on this.
Yeah.
But I don't know where that is, because I don't know what he is in the current NBA right now.
We will discuss that, but something we need to discuss right now is one of the hottest stories of the week.
The Butler did it!
Jimmy Butler to the Philadelphia 76ers. Wow.
Yeah.
What a move by the Sixers. Unexpected.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, good move.
I like this a lot. I think he's going to be the greatest piece with Embiid and Simmons on the floor. But the one big but that happens to start with Markelle and end with Fultz, Markelle Fultz. He has not been playing well.
No.
He was injured, came back this season, hasn't been impressive from the three-point line, from the free throw line,
Anywhere.
from the line,
Any line.
anywhere.
From anywhere on the court.
And
No.
it really is a shame, because he was the number 1 pick in the draft. He has so much potential, and I feel like the Sixers are really trying. They're
they are.
Really trying.
They're 100%
which
trying.
I give it to them, but should he be worried now that we have Butler?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he is no longer in the starting lineup, right? Now that Butler is here, he's now moved back to the bench.
Because Jimmy Butler's not going to stand for somebody
Listen.
doing a pump fake at the free throw line.
Listen, we saw how Jimmy left Minnesota scorched earth, right?
Oh, he made sure. He stung a couple people.
Potentially ruining Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins.
And let me just say really quick, this move happened so fast that Jimmy Butler showed up to Philadelphia for the press conference in a sweatsuit because his suit got there
His suits
too
haven't arrived
late.
yet. Yeah.
So this is how quick this was.
Yeah, it was
he
fast.
wanted out, he got out, and he's very excited, he says. He had his debut the other night.
Yeah, in a loss, but So there's a couple things here. One, I'm still not 100% sure how the basketball fit works.
Okay. Explain why.
So the problem that Philadelphia has right now is the offense clogs because there's not enough spacing on the floor, because there's not enough shooting.
I was just going to say,
right?
they can't knock down
Right.
shots. Granted, open shots.
Right.
Either.
When you had Embiid, Simmons, and Fultz on the floor together, Embiid was the best shooter of the three of them. That's not good. Your 7'3" center should not be your best center, but your best shooter, because he's not the primary ball handler. Like, that's not...
It's like an oxymoron.
Yes, that's not good.
No.
Number one. Okay, so JJ's going to be back in the starting lineup now, which is going to help them with their spacing.
Which I don't think he should have ever been taken out.
No, but I know why they were trying to help Markelle, which we'll get to that in a minute. Butler is a pretty good three-point shooter.
Yeah.
He's better than league average. He's not amazing, but way better than the league average, which is good.
Yeah.
I think that some kinks still need to be worked out, because can we have Jimmy work off ball? Because Simmons is still a problem, right? Simmons still does not shoot.
He still doesn't have a shot yet.
Yes, that is still a problem.
And
so you're still playing 5-on-4 on the other end, because everyone knows to back off him, because he won't. Not even he can't. He won't.
So, in your opinion, how does? I know you said you're not sure how it's gonna go with him, but if you could have your best bet at it, how would Butler fit into this lineup?
I like Butler off ball. He can do some catch and shoot threes, which will be helpful. Obviously, JJ will be running people off screens, which will be helpful and
you know
add
he
some
plays
spacing.
hard at 100%.
Absolutely. So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Jimmy can initiate some offense as well. So I like that. They can run some pick and roll and do a variety of different things.
Yeah.
What I like is that Jimmy will not be able to sort of commandeer and bully's not the word I want to use, but bully anyone on this team, right?
Yeah.
Because Embiid won't back down, Simmons won't back down.
No, but I think he'll still have a voice.
Oh, he'll 100%.
And I don't think he's going to withstand Fultz's lack of performance for a long time.
No.
I mean, say we're in mid-season,
right.
heading toward the games that really matter
right.
in crunch time. I don't think that he's going to take this.
I think it's telling that in the trade, so Dario Saric and Robert Covington went to Minnesota with Jared Bayless.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz was not part of that deal. And that's telling on the Minnesota side because I don't think they wanted him. I'm a believer that Philly probably tried to move Markelle. And
you think?
Minnesota was like, nah.
Well, interesting with Markelle, he parted ways with his trainer, Drew Hanlon, and reports say that Hanlon is still training Embiid. So he's still around somewhat, but apparently, reportedly, it didn't end well between the two.
So something obviously is going on.
A lot of people say it's mental. Butler even said that he guessed that it was mental.
It's 100% mental. Look, the Sixers were here 2 weeks ago. I may have said this on the pod or not. I'm saying it again now. Markelle was doing shooting drills on the floor. I was standing right next to him.
Yeah.
And every time a coach walked by, any coach, an assistant, didn't matter. Markelle, you're looking good. Looking great, buddy. Looking really good, Markelle. Like, that's what you do to someone who needs their confidence boosted. So clearly something is going on. And it wasn't, in college you could shoot, so I don't know what happened.
Well,
we just forget between college and the pros?
That's what I don't understand. And I hate to be one of these people that it sounds so, I don't know, there's no gray area, but like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
Like you said, it has to be mental. You have to either be nervous or something. But then again, when you're the number one pick in the draft, I just don't understand how you can't mentally process the work on the floor.
Something's
You're
up.
Practicing so many times a day. You're saying that nothing phases you. So what is happening?
Something's up.
He needs to talk to someone. Is Ben talking to him? Is Embiid talking to him? They all are putting this brave face on that Philly is behind Markelle, but okay, talk to me after mid-season. Are you still behind Markelle Fultz?
Listen, I'm hoping Philly has a performance coach working with him, a sports psychologist, because clearly there's a disconnect somewhere. And we don't know what. We're not there. We have no idea.
No.
But, that's a situation worth monitoring because, look, the other thing with Philly is in a playoff series, they now can say they potentially have the three best players on the floor, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
They have three of the best players in the East.
Which is impactful. So the question now is, does Philly now think, okay, this is our time, we're ready to make a legitimate run at the conference finals? Because I still think Toronto and Milwaukee are better than Philly.
Oh yeah, people like we always say are sleeping
Boston,
on it.
And Boston has their own issues, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
Do you think this is what I was curious about too? As soon as I heard that Butler was going to Philly, his personality with Embiid. Is it going to be a match made in heaven, or is it going to just combust Embiid too much?
I think it'll be great because those two love trolling.
Because think about it. In Minnesota, you had Butler, but then you had quiet Wiggins and Cat, and he didn't like that.
Yeah, that doesn't vibe.
So I think it's going to be a good matchup.
Because Embiid, let's say that, again, NBA guys don't practice a ton during the season because of the nature, but let's say there's a time in practice where there's kind of like, they're scrimmaging or whatever, or they're just working out, and he can switch. I got you. You can't go. Like they're gonna go at it, but in a way that Jimmy will talk smack, but Joel will talk smack right back and give it to him and back and forth.
Yeah.
So I think Jimmy will like that environment, and that healthy competitiveness will be good. Jimmy will be, I think, ultimately good for them. Again, I need to see more games and watch them play on the floor together just to see how it's gonna work. Because again, Ben not being a shooter is problematic.
Extremely problematic. And I'm not saying it's okay right now, but it's tolerable right now.
And look,
it's not going to be that way.
Where is Ben in the pecking order right now? Is he now the third best player on this team? Because Embiid is clearly one. Then it's Jimmy probably.
Jimmy, I believe, is above Ben because he can handle the ball, he's a great two-way player, and he can shoot.
Yeah.
Ben is the same thing, but he can't shoot.
Right.
So if he can get a shot down,
he'll be fine.
That's it. He's fine.
But
2 or 3.
Here's the thing. What was he doing all off season?
Hanging out with Kendall Jenner. I'm kidding.
But we're really not, though.
Halfway.
Note to self, during that Sixers game, Kendall Jenner was in attendance, by the way.
Jarod,
I did.
Hector saw her
She walked right by me.
in the flesh.
And I literally did the old jock down. I was like, what's good, Kendall?
No big deal. No big deal.
Well, I mean, it was just, I was shocked that she was there, but then I remembered she was filming the VS Fashion Show that week, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
This is what you get on this podcast, people. You get the combined pop culture and NBA because they go hand in hand.
That's right. They do. They do. But really quick, before we wrap this up, I'm curious about what you just said. How you think that Philly potentially could have tried to throw Markelle in there. Minnesota didn't want him. Okay. Say it's the end of the season. Markelle, I hate this word, but happens to be a bust.
Right.
Okay. Where does he go or where does he fit in? Or does he fit in?
That's the thing. I don't know because, look, Philly has to do their best job to keep pumping him up because they can't.
Or do you let go of your number one draft pick?
But that's the point, though. Even if they try to move him, if he's not performing well, they're not going to get anything back for him. So they have to keep him pumped up at some point so that he looks like he's still a valuable commodity.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hate using that word because he's not a commodity. He's like a thing. So he's a valuable player.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, we just don't know right now. And the thing is, you can't figure this out if your goal is to try to like advance into the. This is what you have the offseason for. Like we don't have time to figure this out right now.
Yeah.
You say it's a long season, and yes, it's true, but you're also trying to figure out Philly is convinced they are an Eastern Conference Finals, potentially a Finals team. Well, you can't be a Finals team if you're trying to figure out what Markelle Fultz is.
I'm like you said, it's going to be a watch and see kind of thing. I'm really curious to see how coach is going to develop these players and fix this lineup and share the minutes between these guys and how he's going to coach Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets. You know, Brett Brown, I am not sold that he is the man to take them to where they ultimately want to go. I don't think he's a bad coach.
No.
I just don't know that he's that
But
guy.
after they got gassed last year, they made it far.
Well, listen.
They were proud of Brown, and now I think if he doesn't kick it up, somebody's job security might not be
we'll see because we need to see how this team actually performs in the playoffs. Now that they have expectations, right? See, it's the same thing with Boston, right? It's easy when there's no expectations there. Now
it's like, we'll make it as far as we can.
Exactly. Now when everybody's like, oh, you two are the Eastern Conference. Okay.
So now we got to get back there and further.
Let's see how you do now with the goal, with the stated target on your back. Now let's see you do it now.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
We shall see. We shall see. Catch us in the next segment because there's so much more to talk about.
So much more.
These were just the hottest ones.